Hello. In this video, we're going to address GeoQuiz's rotation question problem. That problem is, just to recap here, when you go to another question and you rotate the device, the question reverts back to the first question. So we're going to fix that. And on the way to fixing that, we're also going to add another layout variation. We're going to add a landscape variation that's going to look slightly different from the portrait orientation. And we're going to do that, and then after that we're going to add some code that's going to ensure that we restore the proper question index so that the currently displayed question reappears in the rotated view. All right, so first things first, we're going to add a landscape variation. We already have a design for portrait mode, and we could perhaps live with the the layout for landscape, this default layout. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to make it look a little bit different. We're going to reposition all of the screen elements, so just to be a little bit different with respect to the landscape view. So I'm going to open up my layout here, get some room, and I'm going to click on the rotation button here, and I'm going to select Create Landscape Variation. And notice what this does. This creates a new layout file, a new activity_quiz.xml file with a landscape identifier here to the right. All right, and very much like the original layout file, this has a design view and a text view. So we're going to do things a little bit differently. One of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to change this linear layout to a frame layout. And we're going to do that because we're going to reposition all of the elements with respect to the outer frame or the outer layout. All right, and so I'm going to, instead of orienting things in a line horizontally or vertically, we're going to lay them out with respect to the outer frame. Okay, so I'm going to change that like so. We also can get rid of this orientation that is not relevant to frame layouts. If we look at the design, we're going to see things are kind of bunched up over here. So we need to fix that up. And the way we're going to fix that up is we're going to position the question here. Let's just, I'll just show you here. We're going to position the question in the top center. We're going to keep true and false in the horizontal and vertical center of the screen. And we're going to position next to the lower right corner. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to select question. And I'm going to open up the attributes, and I'm going to go to the layout gravity. If I scroll down here, oops, went a little bit too far. If I go to layout gravity, I see a bunch of options there. And with the question, I'm going to center it horizontal. And I believe that's all I'm going to need to do there. I don't really need to select top. Okay. Now for the questions, I'm sorry, for the true and the false button, I'm going to select center. All right. And for the false button, I'm going to select bottom right. Layout gravity positions the view with respect to its containing frame layout, whereas the gravity attribute positions views within or contained by the view, the enclosing view. So here for next button, we're going to select right and bottom. Okay. And so we can see that this is essentially what we want to do. Yeah, okay, so we'll leave it like that, and we'll run it, and we'll make changes to the code, and then we'll run it, and we'll see it all in action. Now, this is going to give us a different look for the landscape layout. Now we're going to make some changes to quiz activity so that it preserves the question upon rotation. To do that, we're going to override another transitional method. You recall these other transitional methods that we created before: on start, on stop, on destroy, etc. We're going to override a method called on save instant state. This gets called just before the activity enters the stop state. And the stop state is going to get called when the device is rotated. It's going to get called on the way to the activity being destroyed. So what I'll do here is right between this on false click and the on start, I'm going to generate. I'm going to generate an override of on save instant state. I can start typing it in here, and it'll let's see, on save instance. No, that's not helping me out here. I think we need to type it a little bit faster. No. Not very helpful. Okay. What if I... Nope. I think we're just going to have to scroll down. Here we go. There we go. If you type that in, it'll highlight it. So we'll click OK. There's our on-saved instant state. We're going to put in a log just to make sure it gets called when we expect it to get called. And what we're going to do here is we're going to save the value of the current index into this bundle that gets passed into on-save instant state. A bundle is essentially a map or a dictionary data structure. It takes a key and a value, and that value is stored in association with that key in the bundle. So you know what? Let's create a key. We'll come up here to the top, just under the tag, and a key is going to be a constant string. So we're going to give it the static final treatment. We're going to call it key index. It's convention in C-based languages to name a constant in all caps. And we'll just call this index. All right, so let's go back down to our on-save instant state. And in the bundle, we are going to put an integer. It's going to take the key index and the value of m current index. So when rotation occurs, on-save instant state is going to get called, and a bundle data structure is going to be passed in. We are going to save the value of the current index to that bundle. We're going to be able to access that bundle when the new activity in the new orientation is created. And that activity is going to be an instance of quiz activity. So in our onCreate here, right at the top, well, you notice that onCreate receives a bundle. Well, that bundle is the same bundle that gets passed into onSave instance state. So we are going to access that bundle here and retrieve our saved value of the current index, and then reset current index to its previously saved value. First thing we have to do though is test to see if saved instance state is not equal to null. If it is not equal to null, that means it contains a value that was saved earlier. So all we need to do here is just assign the saved instance state integer. We're going to enter in the index that saved value was saved with. It's good practice to put in a default value here just in case the key index isn't there for some reason. That should rarely be called, but we'll put it in there just in case. And that should be all we need to do to preserve the question. So let's run this and see if our changes work. Okay, APK is installed. Let's go to another question. Let's rotate the device. And sure enough, the question was preserved. It didn't revert to the first question. Our true and false buttons are in the middle, and our next button is at the lower right. Now, if we return the device to its portrait orientation, we have the question and we have our original portrait orientation. And that's how you add a different layout variation and how you save the activity state across a device rotation. And that's about it. The only thing you have to add for the homework assignment is the challenge at the end of chapter 2, which is the adding of the previous button. And I'll leave that to you. Thanks for watching.